And I'll jump into the questions because that's what people jumped on for. So Jeffrey from Lexington, South Carolina asks, what are some challenges you think the next generation will face? Saving our country. I mean that. I think the next generation faces immense challenges with a left that has been totally unleashed, with generations of kids totally indoctrinated to believe that climate change is the single greatest threat we face on the planet, and we need to change the whole way we live in the next 10 years, we're all going to die. It's always we're all going to die if we don't do this, this, or this. Yet they ignore the real ideological threats which are ascendant in the world today, namely the communist Chinese. Just look at COVID-19, radical Islamists who are still on the march and still seek our destruction, and we can't forget that after 9/11. And then, of course, globalists, these sort of internationalist types who want to use international institutions to strangle out sovereignty and freedom for free people and free countries. And you have to be willing to fight for it. And if you're not teaching the next generation that America is good, why would they go out and put why us old cockroaches will still be here? I love it. That's a funny comment. Yeah, you're right. It will still be there. There'll be some of us that survive the leftist apocalypse that apparently is on its way. So young people fighting through the indoctrination is going to be huge. It's going to be a difficult thing to do. And the challenge of the future is going to be the sort of big lies that the left tells are only going to get louder. And so fighting them, and I talk about those big lies, because they're lies, they're total deceits to young people. They're only going to get bigger and louder, which means we're going to have to be more courageous on our side in order to defeat it. Because you can't just win in the political realm. You got to win, as I talk about in the book, in culture and in education. So let me go to a couple more. Dana from Lakeland, Florida says, will you ever become a politician? I hope not, no. Question is from William in Beaufort. I hope I got that right. Beaufort, South Carolina. What can we do as a country to keep China from buying up a lot of our manufacturing plants, oil fields, and farmlands? Huge question. What can we do? Raise awareness first and foremost. I mean, thank God we have a president, Donald Trump, who understands the threat of China and is willing to call him out for it. Someone just mentioned the SpaceX launch. Yes, it is right here on my TV on Fox. I'll be watching it too. It's great to see America, seeing American power reprojected into outer space, because guess who's trying to beat us there right now? China. China's trying to beat us at the next level of warfare, which includes space. And they're just, they know that if they can weaponize space and take out the technology that we have, the technological advantage we have, then we can't talk and we can't share and we can't see. We're much more vulnerable. China's building a military to beat us, and we're often building the military of the last war. And that is not a recipe for winning the next war against a threat like China. But on manufacturing, you have to just give a stark choice to U.S. companies. Are you a U.S. company or not? Like, you're not a globalist company. If you're headquartered in America and you benefit from the free market system of what we have, then you can't then use that to give secrets to the communist Chinese, which you're required to do business over there. And we should be vetting every country that looks to buy, or every company that looks to buy up a company in America. So if there's a wealthy Chinese investor that wants to come in, why are we allowing them to buy our manufacturing prowess or buy our production prowess? Like, we can still control it here and export if we want. Exporting can be part of the business model, but you don't have to give away who you are as an American company. I think that in a frustrating sense, we've got an entire generation of young CEOs in Silicon Valley and elsewhere that have been, indoctrinated to believe they're global citizens. And as a result, they don't run their companies like American companies. They run them as if they have no allegiance to any flag. And that has been, it's really, really scary and problematic. And I argue in the book, we have to stare down the Chinese right now. I mean, end our dependency completely on them. They are like the Soviet Union of Reagan's era. We are already effectively in a Cold War too. The question is, will we lean forward and actually, reposition how we operate in the world to defeat China's global ambitions? And that requires protecting our manufacturing, orienting our military toward that threat, not allowing, you just can't be on the slanted playing field. I mean, another thing I write about, I learned about it through researching the book, are these Confucius Institutes that are at our universities in America that are effectively Chinese propaganda institutes paid for by the Chinese government, started in our universities because they'll happily take money. They're all globalists. They don't have an allegiance to the United States of America, or they used to. They don't anymore. And so we literally pump Chinese propaganda into the brains of American kids and students and graduate students. Yet where's the George Washington Institute in Beijing, or the Lincoln Center in Beijing? You know what I mean? There's no reciprocity ever with the Chinese. If it's good for them, they do it. If it's not good for them, they stop it, and then they expect equal treatment. And then you've got, as Trump points out, the president points out time and time again, you've got how they're able to use these international organizations to their advantage, and then wield them against us. And that doesn't make sense either. So second guessing all of the things that we've done to be a part of these international institutions is important. They were created after World War II by the winners of World War II, and they served American interests for a long time. No longer do they, and as a result, it's time to leave them. Time to reject them, time to create our own systems, our own networks, call what do we talk about in the past? I think I write a League of Republics is what it should be, where like the few like-minded free countries on the planet bond together, work together, plan together, and we put China on their heels, not try to work with them at the UN Security Council where they're always going to reject the kind of things that we stand for. So you have to take them on directly and reject this leftist call that these international institutions somehow serve our interests. They do not. Stop debating about do we do a little bit less at the UN, or no? Just get rid of the UN. Just get rid of it. It is a poisoned body. It is an anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic institution that's now bonds together to gang up on us, to gang up on the West. And what use does it have? We know that talking to each other is better than shooting at each other if we can avert a war. That's the idea of the UN. But that's not what it has effectively become. And it's too bad. The League of Nations was broke up for what we have now. Why did we stop getting rid of the government? Yeah, the League of Nations was broken up, but we should have a League of Republics, and we could. I mean, I think John McCain actually ran on something like that. One of the things he understood correctly was how bad the UN is. So something to think about. And thank you very much for the question. China is our enemy. We need to label them as such and take them on at every single front. Thank you for your service. In your opinion, who do you believe poses the greatest risk to the USA? In my opinion, it's the left. It's the American left. And what they want, that's what I write about openly in the book. It's the American left. And then, because if we can't keep our country free and strong, how do you take on the communist Chinese? How do you take on radical Islamists? How do you take on globalists? How do you take on all the other threats to freedom in the world without a vibrant, strong America? You can talk about all the other threats you want, but you can't do anything about it. What's your most, after Trump 2020, what do you see? Listen, I think this is an amazing opportunity for him to consolidate the things that he's done. I'm not wishing for anyone to pass away, but we got some older folks on the Supreme Court, and he might get 2 more picks. So love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time.